fear, and I left them all behind.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness.
And now, Mike's thoughts.
We all thought the MVP race was all locked up. We all thought that Josh Allen was the MVP of the NFL. Hell, a couple weeks ago before that, we all thought that Lamar Jackson was the MVP of the NFL. Even before that, we thought Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. Man, the NFL is so fluid. And right now, I'm going to tell you, if the Cincinnati Bengals make it into the postseason, which they very well could do next week, Joe Burrow is the NFL MVP, hands down. I don't care what anybody has to say. Joe Burrow is the MVP of the NFL. Today, versus the Denver Broncos. Yes, the game went into overtime, but my man had 412 yards passing. He went 39 for 49 with an 80% completion percentage. 80% completion percentage. That is unheard of. 3 touchdowns, and he was sacked 7 times. He did have a QBR of a 91.2. In the last 3 or 4 games, versus the Cleveland Browns, 252 yards, 76% completion percentage, rating of a 78.9. Versus the Tennessee Titans, 271 yards passing, completion percentage of 70 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has had 5 straight games with 3 touchdowns. Versus the Tennessee Titans, versus the Dallas Cowboys, 369 yards, 75% completion percentage. Versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, 309 yards, 74% completion percentage. Yes, his QBR was a little bit down, but still, 3 tutties, 3 tutties, 3 tutties, and 3 tutties. And oh, by the way, he leads the NFL in passing with 4,229 yards, leads the NFL with 39 touchdowns, just to 8 interceptions, and he has 3rd on the QBR of 74.3. Guys, if Joe Burrow is not the MVP of the NFL, it is a rigged system. It is simple as that. It is a rigged system if Joe Burrow is not the MVP. Yes, I understand wins and all this other crap, but throw that out the window. Where would the Cincinnati Bengals be without Joe Burrow? Legitimately, where would they be right now without Joe Burrow? They would not be 8-8 in heat of the playoff race. They would not even be a 7-win team or a 6-win team or a 5-win team or a 4-win team. They'll probably be a 3-win team at best without Joe Burrow. Guys, Joe Burrow is the league MVP. Better than Josh Allen, better than Lamar Jackson, better than Saquon, better than Derrick Henry, better than Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow is him. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it.
This is
Man Hour.
What?
Sport Talk.
What?
Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Nation, Michael Buckeye here of the Man Hour. Be sure to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise section. Check out the Explore tab. And, of course, check out the blog tab as well. A lot of things happen over there at manhourradio.com. It is a simple website, but it gets everything that you need. It gets you the merch, it gets you the news, and it gets you the blog section. But, guys, I want you guys to know something. I've been working heavily on this new bot system that I've been working on. I've been working on it for about the last month and a half here. I've been coding it, doing a little bit of this and doing a little bit of that. And I think January 10th, that's right, mark your calendars down. January 10th, guys, I think we might be ready for 24/7, 365 days of the year NFL news. I'm going to have a live YouTube page streaming NFL news 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So none of the debate crap back and forth, nothing, like you don't have to wait and read thousands of articles to see what's going on. Bada bing, bada boom, it will all be right there. But guys, it is Saturday edition of manhourradio.com. We are live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. Normally on Saturdays, we do have the Toxic Table, Mark and Hoffy here. Hoffy's got things to do, and Mark is still crying in the back corner with his tears, using them as lube and lubing up his body and make sure he has a good night because his Denver Broncos did just get beat by the Cincinnati Bengals. But we are going to continue the contender or pretender list through the AFC. We got about 5 more teams to cover. We got the Cincinnati Bengals, we got the Miami Dolphins, we got the Indianapolis Colts, and the Denver Broncos. We got 5 teams left that we're going to cover, determine if they're contenders or pretenders in the playoff race. So I was waiting to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. We were going to talk about them last night, but I'm like, hey, they play Saturday afternoon. Let's slow it down, baby. Let's see if they're eliminated. Let's see what they're not. But they aren't. They're in the race, and they might make it. They might make it. But before we get too carried away, we got to welcome some people into the chat. We got my man Derek in the chat today. What's up, Derek? Hope you're having a grand old day. He says he will be right back. Got to go drop the kids off at school. If you know, you know. And Jim Powell's in the chat as well, the CEO of the Pigskin Pundits. Guys, if you want to be like Jim, become a Pigskin Pundit. Click on the members tab if you're on youtube.com/manhour, or if you're on Facebook, click on the subscribe tab. You get free merch, you get free entry into our NFL pick'ems, and you get a lot of behind-the-scenes footage of like what is going on, plus daily lives as well. Excuse me. But Jim Powell says at least Sanders will look horrible. Are you referring to Shedeur Sanders looking horrible? I guess I'm not for sure what you're talking about, Jim, but you are right. At least he will look horrible, right? At least he'll look horrible. Hampy123's in the chat says Vikings. Vikings, you got a very, very big game tomorrow, Hampy. They do play the Green Bay Packers at home, and if they win that game, they're still on pace for the first overall seed. We'll see if they can get it. So, Hampy, I am rooting for you. Because this is a lot bigger game for the Minnesota Vikings than it is the Green Bay Packers. And you know what? I've been kind of hard on the Minnesota Vikings fans the last week and a half, 2 weeks, month, 3 months, whatever it is. Let's give you guys a little bit of success. Let's give you guys a little bit of flowers, right? Let's get you guys a little bit of flowers. Let's get that number 1 overall seed so you can be a first round exit into the playoffs. I'm like, I told you so. But until then, go Skull Nation. Skull it up, right? Go Vikings, go Vikings, go Vikings. And Jim says, ain't no way some damn Home Alone look like wannabe is the MVP. Where would they be? The same place they are. You are displaying your anti-Lamarison and Clever's ways, like penalties in a Chiefs game. Jim, how is Joe Burrow not the MVP? Look at these numbers, Jim. He has 4,229 yards passing so far this season. That's first in the NFL. 39 touchdowns. That's tied for first in the NFL. To 8 interceptions, which is tied for 75th in the NFL. And third in QBR, 74.3. The man had 400 yards today, right? 400 yards today. 250 versus the Browns. 271 versus the Titans. 369 versus the Cowboys. And 309 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The last 5 games. Hell, if you want to go more than that, Jim, let's go beyond the last 5 games, right? Last 5 games would have been the Pittsburgh Steelers, LA Chargers, one of the best defenses in the league, right? 356 yards, right? With another 3 touchdowns in that game. Let's go back to the Baltimore Ravens game, 428 yards passing, 4 touchdowns in that game. against your Las Vegas Raiders, 250. 5 tutties in that game. 5 tutties, Jim. Let's go back to the Philadelphia Eagles game. 234. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Yes, they did lose that game. The Philadelphia Eagles are a very, very good team. They're a great team, right? Super Bowl bound team. Now, he did have a little fluke against the Browns back on October 20th. He did have a little bit of fluke. Only threw for 181 yards. Still had two tutties, though. And they won that game, right? I mean, legitimately, the Bengals have the worst defense I've seen in a very, very long time from an AFC North team. Actually, from a Bengals team in general. I don't know what happened to their defense the last 18 months or whatever it was, a year. Joe Burrow is the man, the myth, the legend. Made four wins in a row over the Cowboys, Titans, Browns, and the Denver Broncos. Jim, you are at every dare here at Man Hour. Right? You listen to every live show. Didn't we pretty much tell the people that the Bengals were pretenders? Well, actually, we had never really put the pretender label on them, but we did not think they were going to make the playoffs about, I don't know, a month and a half ago. Whole month of November when they couldn't win a game. Like, they're pretty much done, right? They're pretty much done. But yes, come on. Joe Burrow is the MVP, dog. Don't get it twisted. Joe Burrow is the MVP, man. Come on. Jim also says the MVP is never about the best player or an old lineman would get it every year. But it's always about the best quarterback on the best team, and they aren't the best team. You are correct. You are correct. And honestly, Jim, by logical speaking, best quarterback on the best team, it's probably going to go to Josh Allen, right? Because I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is the MVP style quarterback this season. He should not even be in the conversation. However, he does have the team 15-1. He is the quarterback on the best team, right? I'm just saying. I did just did say that. But Josh Allen will probably end up winning the MVP. Yes, Jim, you are correct. You are correct. I stand corrected. Laura said, you did say the Bengals were Fugazi. Did I? I don't ever remember saying that the Bengals were ever Fugazi. Broncos, yes. I said the Bengals are a team you do not want to play when they get into the playoffs, 100%. I'm going to have to go back and fact check that because I'm pretty sure I never said the Bengals were Fugazi, ever. Never once have I said the Bengals were for Fugazi. Now, when they lost 3 games in a row, I was very disappointed in them because, like, hey, you guys have an opportunity to make the playoffs. Stop messing it up. But to say they were Fugazi, slow it down, baby. Slow it down, baby. Whew. But speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. We need to talk about them being contenders or pretenders, the Cincinnati Bengals. Fresh off the win over the Denver Broncos in OT, 30-24. Many people say it wasn't a touchdown catch, but I digress. I think it was. Obviously, it was. They ended up winning the game. They now have a 11% chance to make the playoffs as of right now. What they need to do is they need to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 18, and the Denver Broncos need to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 18 as well. If they do that, they will get the 7th overall seed in the AFC playoffs. And with that being said, they will be playing the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens in the first round, depending on if the Ravens continue their winning ways and the Buffalo Bills do drop a game. However, the Cincinnati Bengals guys are 1-7 versus playoff teams so far this season. If the Denver Broncos miss the playoffs, right? Now, if they make the playoffs, they would be 2-7. But as of right now, they are 1-7 versus playoff-bound teams. When you look at their offense, right, they had the 10th ranked overall offense. First in passing, as you can see, Joe Burrow, Mr. 4,200-yard man himself, he's balling out. They are 6th in scoring, 5th in red zone offense, and 4th and 3rd down offense. The defense has been the issue. Obviously, the defense on the Cincinnati Bengals have been the issue. There's no rhyme or reason about it. They have just been flat out bad. 28th overall on defense, 26th in passing, 21st in rushing, 28th in scoring, and 31st in red zone defense. They are bad. They are bad on defense. However, the last 3 games, they've been a lot better. not counting the Denver Broncos game, but versus the Browns, they only gave up 6 points versus the Cleveland Browns. 157 passing yards to only 148 rushing yards. It sounds like a lot of rushing yards, but when you have Nicholas Chubb on your team, you're going to run the ball a lot. Then they held the Tennessee Titans just to 27 points, right? 209 yards passing to Mason Rudolph. 63 rushing yards. They are a very, very improved defense, right? And then versus the Dallas Cowboys, only gave up 20 points versus the Dallas Cowboys, 183 passing yards, and 25 rushing yards if you take out Rico. Guys, the Cincinnati Bengals defense has improved the last 3, and now you can say 4 weeks, adding in the Denver Broncos game here. Yes, there were spurts where I'm like, oh man, here we go. Shootout happened, right? Even over on our Facebook.com page, right? Facebook.com/Manor. I said, is there a fourth quarter shootout pending? I believe at the time it was 10-10. I'm like, and then we saw a defensive battle in like overtime, right? Yes, there was a lot of scoring. There was 20 points by the Bengals in the fourth quarter and overtime, and then 14 by the Broncos in the fourth quarter and like overtime. But the simple fact of the matter is, guys, the question is, are the Cincinnati Bengals contenders or pretenders in the playoffs? Can they win a wild card game? Guys, the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. They are 100% contenders. The Buffalo Bills don't want to see them. The Baltimore Ravens don't want to see them if the Baltimore Ravens could get up to that number two seed. If the Bengals get past the Bills in the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to see them. The only team that has beaten Patrick Mahomes, or the only active quarterback that has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, Joe Burrow. Guys, if the Bengals can continue to play somewhat decent defense and not this 28th overall, 31st in red zone, right? If they can do that and just play just a little bit better, 20th and better, bada bing, bada boom, guys, they are a Super Bowl winning team more than likely. Joe Burrow, MVP himself, cannot be stopped on the offensive side. It is what it is. Joe Burrow cannot be stopped. So, guys, in the comments below, let me know. Do you guys think the Cincinnati Bengals are contenders or pretenders if they make the playoffs? Can they win that wild card game versus the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens, depending on how the number 2 seed falls out? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Josh Allen says they won't get in. The odds are too slim for them. Why is it not popping up? Because I'm in the wrong thing. Josh, the odds have been against the Cincinnati Bengals all season long. Let's just be honest. They have been, the odds against them all season long. They have not been over a 40% playoff chance since the month of October. Hell, let's flash back to, what was it? Was it September? Was it September time frame when they lost like 2 or 3 games in a row? Let me load it here. Come on. Load schedule. I want to get this correct. So when they started out 0-3, right? Losses to the Patriots, losses to the Chiefs, losses to the Commanders, and then they lost to the Baltimore Ravens week 5, starting out the season off 1-4. Everybody said, oh, this team's done. They're trash. They're this, right? Joe Burrow, 164 versus the Patriots, 258 versus the Chiefs, 324 yards versus the Commanders. Everybody was saying the same thing. Yeah, their offense is good, but their defense is trash. Their defense is trash, right? They got better. They got better toward the end of the season, toward that middle part of the season, and then they played the Steelers, right, and the Ravens, and blew it up again. But I don't care about 11% odds, right? I think that the Bengals are going to want to go in there and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, or they're going to go in there and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on next week. On January 5th, they are going to go in there and they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not because they're better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's just get that out of the way. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are better than the Cincinnati Bengals, but because the Steelers want to be that 5th seed. Steelers want to be that 5th seed. Bengals want to end it to the playoffs. And bada bing, bada boom, Bengals make it, because I do not see the Kansas City Chiefs sitting their starters week 18. I see them playing at least 3.5, 4 quarters, right? Playing 75, 80% of the game versus the Denver Broncos, because they got that bye week already. You don't want rust building up on Mahomes and the boys. The Broncos are going to lose that Week 18 game. Cincinnati just got to win and they're in, right? They win and they're in. It would not shock me one bit if that Chiefs-Broncos game actually got flexed toward a later time. But odds are too slim. All they got to do is they got to win. The Broncos got to lose. Bada bing, bada boom. They are in. Jameis says the Chiefs don't want to see Joe Burrow. Jameson, you are right. I don't think anybody wants to see Joe Burrow in the AFC playoffs, to be honest, especially the Kansas City Chiefs. The Buffalo Bills don't want to see him. The Ravens certainly don't want to see him. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. Alexander says, how do you feel about the 49ers? That's a better question for Jameson. 49ers are they've had a rough season, right? A lot of injuries and just a lot of prima donna issues. They're having a rough season, but they will rebound like they always do. Jim Powell says, you are excited about them Bengals. This show is a little bit about Snoop Dogg this show is about as lit as the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. Come on, man. Don't be dogging the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody counting them out. Now they hear, and people are scared. I'm scared as a Chiefs fan. As a Chiefs fan, I am scared. I am. But Casey says, whoa, slow it down, baby. They are pretenders. They're going to be a first-round exit. The Buffalo Bills are going to wax that ass, baby. Casey, pigskin pundit, my man. Slow it down. Jameson says, can Cincinnati Bengals beat Buffalo? If so, they can beat Kansas City. I think they can beat Buffalo Bills, right? I think they can go into Buffalo, and I think they can beat the Buffalo Bills as long as their defense plays like they have the last four weeks, Jameson. Now, if they revert back to if it is a shootout between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, I got to lean more toward Josh Allen. If it's a shootout, I don't know. It is tough. It is going to be a great game to watch if that does happen, right? That will probably be the Saturday or the Sunday night primetime game. Let's just be honest. Rob Fay says Skull Vikings beat the Cheeseheads. Very good shot. Very good shot, Rob Fay. Very, very good shot. Casey says Chiefs already beat Cincinnati this year, so you are correct, Casey. However, that was back in week 2? A lot has changed on both teams since week 2. The Kansas City Chiefs have gotten a lot better, and the Cincinnati Bengals are playing a lot better as well. And in your defense, Casey, right? The Cincinnati Bengals and the Ravens are actually any team. The Bengals, Ravens, Bills, Steelers, right? They want to step up and play their best game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The Cincinnati Bengals definitely gave it all they got versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and they only lost by 1 point. The Kansas City Chiefs are kind of like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. So I'm just saying. Him for life says, yo, what's your favorite NFL team? I am a Chiefs fan. I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan through and through. Derek says, does that win knock Peyton out of the Coach of the Year run? And to be honest, Derek, when we talk of Coach of the Year, have we really been talking about Sean Payton? Let's just be honest. Have we really been talking about Sean Payton as Coach of the Year candidate, right? A lot of it's been Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, right? And then we had, who was it? It was Dan Quinn, right there for a little while. I never really once heard Sean Payton's really name be brought up a little bit, right? But I think if you make it into the playoffs, like you still gotta talk to him about it, right? Jameson says the Kansas City Chiefs should rest Mahomes and Kelsey Jones and lose to Denver and block out Cincinnati from getting in. No, because the Chiefs have a bye week. They've already been off for 11 days, and then you rest them again for another 7 days, and then 7 days on top of that. That's 14 plus 11. That is 25 days of rest. That's too much. That's just way too much. Way too much. Applesauce says, why the F would the Chiefs start their starters, let alone play them for 3 quarters? Because of 25 days of rest. You don't need a whole month off. You don't. They've already had 11 days off. Going into January 5th, there'll be 11 days. And then they got another 14 days off on top of that. They'll be all right. They'll be all right. Casey says Chiefs will at least play one quarter, but won't be surprised if they lose and block Cincinnati to troll them. You see, guys, what is a better thing here, right? Is it to knock your division rival out of the playoffs, or to knock a playoff rival in the Bengals out? I would much rather knock the Denver Broncos out. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, like me, and I don't want to play Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't want to play them, but at the same time, I don't want the Broncos to make the playoffs either. Knock them out of there, right? Jameson says Tua is injured, Dolphins are out, and Indianapolis has to lose a game for the Cincinnati to get in apparently. Well, Tua is out and Anthony Richardson is both out. The Bengals pretty much own their own destiny, right? They have to win, and the Broncos lose. Bada bing, bada boom, they are in. The Dillons says the Bengals have just gotten a little unlucky. I think they've gotten really lucky, to be honest. The last 4 games, they've been balling out. The defense is playing a lot better. They were a little unlucky earlier in the season, I guess. I don't know if you want to call that. The defense just flat out sucked. The defense got a little bit better. Once the bye week has hit, the defense has gotten a lot better. I don't know. It is what it is. Jim says 8 straight games of 250 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow is a man. Let's just be honest. Joe Burrow is the man. Stop sleeping on him, guys. Stop sleeping on him. The Dylan says, who do you have the NFC North in? Do the Lions have the NFC in your prediction? In my predictions back in June and July, I believe I had the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC North. Let me confirm that. Yeah, I had the Lions at 10-7 and the Packers winning the division at 12-5. My NFC is pretty messed up. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front at all. My NFC is pretty much messed up. But if you're asking me now, do the Lions win the number 1 overall seed in the NFC? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because the Eagles do not have Jalen Hurts. The Eagles will probably lose to the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday, right? And then the Lions and Vikings play head-to-head. I don't think the Vikings get past the Packers this weekend. So it is what it is. Chief Prod says the Browns are going to the Super Bowl. They could in like 2030, right? 2030. CCJ's Clip says Houday. I'm not for sure Houday is, but Houday, I guess, Rule the Jungle is playing very, very well. Jameson says it is about blocking a threat from getting in. And I don't care if you're trying to block the Bengals from getting in the playoffs or not. I'd rather knock a divisional rival out. Me as a high school coach, as a high school head coach here, I had an opportunity to basically tank my last game in to let our rival into the playoffs, right? Because we had to lose for them to get in. I said, oh, hell no. The dogs are in all game long. We ultimately ended up losing that game, and they got in anyways, but the dogs play because I don't want my rival in there. As simple as that. I don't want my rival in there. Derek says Cincinnati beats Pittsburgh. Chargers bounce to the 5th seed. Really? That can't be right. Because the best the Bengals can do is 9-8. And if I'm not mistaken, the Chargers won today, right? They did win. So that gives them 10 wins on the season. Let me Google that to make sure. Let me pull up my playoff picture here at NFL.com. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Chargers have 10 wins. They are locked in as a 6th seed. Now, they can jump up into the 5th seed, right, if the Steelers lose. The Chargers can jump up there. Okay, so okay. I see what you're saying now. So Cincinnati beats the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers drop to the 6th seed. The Chargers move up to the 5th seed. And then all of a sudden, the Chargers are kind of a dangerous threat, right? Jameson says Burrow is my non-favorite 49er. or is my favorite non-49er. Okay. Josh says the Colts will win out, keeping the Bengals out of the playoffs. And the Bengals may not beat the Steelers week 18. That's tough. That's tough. Cedric is the boss. Says Chiefs all the way. Raiders versus Browns Super Bowl 2025. I am almost guaranteed Chief Productions that will not happen. I'm 100% positive that will never happen. So better luck next year. And him for life says, how about them Cowboys? Hey, Cowboys were still a playoff team until last week. They were the real deal. But guys, the contenders or pretenders? The Cincinnati Bengals are the contenders or pretenders? Let's move on to the next one here. The Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, guys, they still have a shot to make the playoffs, right? They got to win out. They got to beat the Browns, and then they got to beat the Jets week 18. They got to win out. There's still an opportunity for them to make the playoffs, but they have to win out, and the Broncos must lose out, right? The Broncos must lose as well as the Bengals have to lose, and then the Colts have to lose as well, right? When you look at the Miami Dolphins, guys, they're 1-4 versus playoff teams so far this season. 1-4. Their offense is not very, very good. Let's just be honest. 17th overall on the offensive side of things. 15th in passing, averaging 222.1 yards per game. 24th in rushing, 105.7 yards per game. 23rd in scoring at 23.3 points per game. What? The Dolphins, with all those weapons, only 20 points per game? What? Get out of here. And then 15th in red zone, scoring at a rate of 56.5%. Now, their defense is a lot better. Their defense is pretty good, actually. Despite all those injuries, right, with Bradley Chubb being out, trading what's-his-face to the Raiders during this offseason, their defense is actually not that bad. 7th overall, only giving up 312.1 yards per game. They're 12th in passing, giving up 210.9 yards per game. 7th in rushing, only giving up 102.1 yards per game. 11th in scoring, giving up 21.9 points per point game. And they're 4th in red zone defense, only allowing opponents to score at a rate of 49 or 48.9%. They are pretty good on the defensive side of the ball. And let's not forget that they have won 5 of their last 7. 2 of their losses have come against playoff teams, however, to the Green Bay Packers at Green Bay, 30-17, and they lost to the Houston Texans at Houston, 20-12. They have won 5 of their last 7 after starting 2-6 on the season. So basically, guys, the Miami Dolphins have to win out for them to be even considered a contender, right? They have to beat the Browns this week at Cleveland. It's going to be raining. It's going to be cold. Not well for the Dolphins and Tua, right? And then they got to go to New York January 5th. Probably not going to be very warm. Might be snowing. Might be raining. You never know. The wind's going to be blowing. Could be Aaron Rodgers' final game in a New York MetLife Jet Stadium. Let's just be honest. But are the Miami Dolphins, if they make the playoffs, if the stars align, they beat the Browns, they beat the Jets, the Colts lose, the Bengals lose, the Broncos lose, everything aligned, are the Miami Dolphins legitimately contenders in the playoffs? Or are they pretenders? That is the question. And everything in my body is saying they are pretenders. Everything in my body is saying that the Miami Dolphins may not even get off the bus versus the Cleveland Browns. This shouldn't even be a conversation. Let's just be honest. But with Tua being out this week versus the Cleveland Browns, actually, he has not been ruled out yet. He's been downgraded to doubtful. More than likely, probably won't play. But let's say they do go in there and they beat the Cleveland Browns with a backup quarterback. As you can tell, they're not very good without Tua on the offensive side of the ball. When Tua's in there, they're a hell of a lot better. Without Tua, they're not very good at all. If they can beat the Browns, and if they can beat the Jets, give them the 7th seed versus the Buffalo Bills. They are 100% pretenders. There should be no reason why they should be trying to go out there and beat the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, tomorrow afternoon. There's no reason why they should be going out there and trying to beat the New York Football Jets in Week 18. There's no reason to at all. Because even if they make the playoffs, they are going to get boat raced by the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs in the first round. They are 100% pretenders. They are 100% pretenders. But guys, in the comments below, do you guys think the Miami Dolphins, are they contenders or are they pretenders? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Mahomes is a blank, so Deshaun Watson comes back and gets the MVP. Okay. Drew Spencer says, how about them Rams? I am not watching the Rams game right now. I got to pause. But if you guys are watching on our Discord, we are streaming that game right now over on our Discord right now. The Arizona Cardinals and taking on the Rams. I'm assuming that that the Rams are doing well right now, and I hope they do well. I would like to see Matthew Stafford in the playoffs. Matthew Stafford is 12-1 in the month of December as the LA Rams quarterback. Jameson says they cannot win without Tua, and Jameson, you are spot on. I don't think they won one game when Tua was out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was when they went on their 4-game losing streak when Tua was out with the concussion. It's just, yeah, for some reason Tua is that key to that engine, right? And when Tua isn't in there, the Miami Dolphins are just a shell of themselves. They're terrible. Turkey Lipstick says Tua hurt. Tua ain't gonna play. He will probably not play. Turkey Lipstick. You are probably right. He has been downgraded to doubtful, so he probably will not play. We will see. We'll see though. Josh says, to simplify it for you Dolphins, Colts and Bengals are not making the playoffs. Not wrong. Isaiah Campbell says, your team sucks, bro. Do they? I didn't know that, but okay. If Tua doesn't play, you can basically count him as eliminated. And Turkey, I think you're right. Turkey Lipstick, I think you are right. If Tua doesn't play, I kind of feel like it's tanking a little bit. I think they're kind of tanking. Isaiah Cable says you can play old lineman. I wish I could, but I'm only 230 and I'm only 6'2", so unfortunately, you need to be about 6'7", 6'8" to play lineman about 320, 310-ish. I can play a pretty good safety and a linebacker, though. Fins are a joke. Should Mike McDaniels be on the hot seat, guys? I understand that he has had this out with Tua being injured and this and this and this, but he has beaten 1 or 2 winning teams his whole tenure as a Miami Dolphins head coach. He should be out. He should honestly be out. Derek says they should go for the win. They could beat the Broncos, except for they wouldn't beat the Broncos in the playoffs. The only way they would play the Broncos in the playoffs is in the AFC Championship game, and neither of them are making it past the first round if they make it, right? If the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs, it will be a 7th seed, and they'll be playing the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. They're not beating either one of those teams, let's just be honest, especially in the cold. They are pretenders, guys. 100% pretenders. But let's move on. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. They still have a shot to make the playoffs. Obviously, they must win out, right? They must win the next 2 games, and the Broncos must lose out, right? The Broncos must lose on January 5th to the Kansas City Chiefs. As of right now, if the Colts do beat the New York Giants, they have a 90% chance of making it into the playoffs. They do play at the New York Giants this week at home, and then they play at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars the following week. Anthony Richardson has been listed as out this week versus the New York Football Giants. When you look at the Indianapolis Colts, guys, they are 1-7 versus playoff teams. They lost to the Denver Broncos a couple weeks ago that could have made the playoff race a hell of a lot easier, but Jonathan Taylor decided not to hold on to the ball into the end zone. And just to make matters worse, their offense and their defense is not very good. Let's just be honest, they're not very good. They're 20th in total offense, 321.1 yards per game. They're 27th in passing, 185.9 yards per game. They are 8th in rushing, right? They are 8th in rushing. They're doing something right, 135.2 yards per game rushing. But they're 21st in scoring, 20th in red zone, only scoring at a 50. I got a rate of 54.5%. And their defense is even that much worse. 29th total defense, 23rd in passing, 28th in rushing, 23rd in scoring, giving up 24 points per game, and 20th in red zone efficiency on the defensive side of the ball, allowing teams to score at a rate of 60% once they get into the red zone. Now they have won 3 of 5. Let's not get it twisted. It is not all bad. Yes, the offense sucks. Yes, the defense sucks, but it isn't all bad, right? They have won 3 of 5. They have won 3 of 5. They beat the New York Football Jets when Anthony Richardson made his epic comeback from being benched 28-27. Then they battled against the Lions, right? It was 24-6, but they held the high-flying Lions down to a very, very low game. Dog days of the NFL season, whatever, it doesn't matter. They still held the Lions to under 24 points. And then they beat the Patriots 25-24, lost to the Broncos 31-14. Very, very easily could have been a win if Jonathan Taylor would have held on to the ball. And then they beat the Titans last week 38-20. So let's say the stars align, guys. They beat the Giants, they beat the Jaguars, the Broncos lose. Let's say the stars align and they get into the playoffs. 7th seed. Playing the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. Are the Colts, guys, contenders or pretenders if they make the playoffs? Can they win that opening round wild card game if they make the playoffs? If anybody in their right mind is saying that the Colts are contenders in the playoffs, you are either a huge Colts fan, you're a 100% homer, or you're throwing spaghetti at a wall. Hopefully something sticks. Hopefully you're like, see, I called that upset. Guys, the Colts are terrible in every aspect of the game. They are terrible. 20th in offense, 29th in defense. There has not been a Super Bowl winning team that has had below 10th overall defense in the NFL the last 8 years. You need to have a good defense to make a playoff run. Yes, they can rush the ball with the best of them. They can't pass. They can't stop anybody. Once you get into the red zone, might as well just walk in because you know what? We're not going to give you any resistance at all. Guys, they are pretenders. And I was high on the Colts this season. I thought the Colts had an opportunity to make it into the playoffs. I actually had them making the playoffs as a 7th seed at 10-7. I thought this was the year that they could finally not disappoint me. I live in Indiana. I root for the Colts. I'm a season ticket holder for the Indianapolis Colts. I go to a lot of Colts games. Yes, I'm a Chiefs fan, but I go to a lot of Colts games and root for them. I'm just like, damn, can you guys just not suck? But guys, the Colts are pretenders. They are pretenders 100%. So what do you guys think? Contenders or pretenders, Indianapolis Colts, if they make the playoffs? I'm saying pretenders. Josh is saying, I'll rewrite it so you understand. Dolphins, Colts, Bengals are not making the playoffs. Josh is very, very adamant that the Dolphins, Colts, and Bengals are not making the playoffs. So he's saying pretenders. They are saying pretenders. Pepe is in the chat. Said the Colts are that dude from Spit. There's schizophrenia from head to toe. Did I say that right? Schizophrenia. Anyways, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Andrew's Paradise says, damn, the Colts stomped the Pats. Hashtag go Pat go. Yes. Josh, I think you damn near got the score spot on, but I was not expecting a blowout at all. Thanks for the super chat, Andrew. I definitely appreciate that, man. We'll put it to good use over here at the Man Hour. But I was not expecting the Colts the Chargers to basically kind of boat race the Patriots, right? Jameson said the 49ers should rehire Sully to be their defensive coordinator and McDaniels to be the offensive coordinators after the Dolphins fire him. That's not going to happen. Derek, not wrong. Last year, if old, who was it? It was Trey Sermon, right? If you just would have caught the ball, would have been in the playoffs. Texans would have been out. We would have had a whole different narrative about the old Texans all season long. I told you guys the Texans were overrated, but Buck, you're just a homer. You're just a hater, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I had them at 9-8 on this season. I've been pretty spot on about them. Jameson says Cincinnati is the only team that has a chance to beat the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's not get crazy. Laura says they are pretenders. There's no question about it that they're pretenders. I don't care what you say, Buck. They're pretenders. Hannah Cameron Lee says the Cincinnati Bengals are not going anywhere. We've already discussed the Cincinnati Bengals, but there will be a clip on it, Hannah, if you want to see our thoughts on it, right? Pepe says the Colts don't know if they're coming or going. Listen, somebody in our comments today, when I posted that Anthony Richardson would be out for this week's game with that back and leg injury, right? They said, good, Joe Flacco's better. And I said, yes, Joe Flacco is better 10 years ago. Last season, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, hell, 9 months ago, Joe Flacco would have been better. Yes. But the simple fact of the matter is Joe Flacco was benched for Anthony Richardson. This is the problem with the Indianapolis Colts. They benched AR-12, right? They benched him because Joe Flacco gave them the best chance to make the playoffs. Using that term loosely there, very, very air quotes, right? Joe Flacco gives us the best chance to make the playoffs. Was it 2 or 3 games later? Cannot remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 games later. Lost to the Jaguars and lost to somebody else. Was it the Titans? May have been the Texans. I'm not for sure. Either way, lost 2 games in a row. 2 games they should have won. Definitely should have beaten the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're like, Joe Flacco, maybe you aren't quite our guy. They benched Joe Flacco. Insert Anthony Richardson. Went on a bye week, whatever, came back and beat the Jets. It is what it is, right? I believe it is Shane Steichen, right, is the Indianapolis Colts head coach. The minute you bench AR and you say Joe Flacco gives us the best chance to make the playoffs, and then 2 games later you bench him, you lost the locker room at that particular point. Pepe, you are spot on. They don't know if they're coming or going. Once you bench Joe Flacco because he's no longer doing good, no longer doing great things, bada bing, bada boom, your season's done. That is why they're pretenders. They are 100% pretenders. I don't understand why we're even talking about them right now, but they are in the bubble. They are in the hunt. Laura says, no, Pack, no. Don't make me put on that cheese head over there. Don't make me do it. Hannah says, Chiefs are getting that 3-beat better look. Hannah says, let me repeat that. I know what she's trying to say, but what she types is something totally different. But she says the Chiefs are getting that 3-peat. Better lock it in the bet now. And Hannah, as a Chiefs fan, I would love that. I would love a 3-peat. I would love it. But let's be realistic. It's tough. It's tough. Derek says the NFL needs strong, young, winning quarterbacks. They do have strong, young, winning quarterbacks. They have Joe Burrow. They have Lamar Jackson. They have Josh Allen. They have Patrick Mahomes. You can throw Justin Herbert in there, right? Granted, they're all on the AFC side of things. Now, the NFC side is all a bunch of old heads, right? Matthew Stafford. Jared Goff's not really a old head. He's like 29, right? He's still got a few years left in him. But beyond that, we do got some young quarterbacks. But guys, are the Colts contenders or pretenders? That's the question. I think they're pretenders. Speaking of contenders or pretenders, the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos. All they had to do was win last week to get into the playoffs. They couldn't do it. All they had to do today was win to get into the playoffs, and they couldn't do it. All they have to do is win next week and beat the Kansas City Chiefs to get into the playoffs, and I think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. But all they need to do right now is to win one game, and the Colts, Dolphins, or Bengals need to lose one game, or like they all need to lose one game, and the Denver Broncos have locked in their playoff seat. Since they lost today to the Cincinnati Bengals, their playoff chances dropped down to 61%. So we got to ask the question, guys, are the Denver Broncos, are they contenders or pretenders if they make the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, can they win that wild card game? So far this season, the Denver Broncos have only beaten one team with the winning record. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in week 3 on Thursday Night Football, back when the Honolulu Flu was the real thing. So far this season, the Denver Broncos are 1-5 versus playoff teams. 1-5. And they only beaten one winning team. And it goes even beyond that, right? It goes beyond that. Their offense, as much as their offense has improved from week 1, 2, 3, hell, even week 6, and into now, they're still pretty bad. They're 22nd overall on the offense, 314 yards per game, 22nd in passing. Bo Nix is starting to sling it like a rock and throwing a lot of interceptions. That interception in the third or fourth quarter damn near cost them that game. Granted, went into overtime, and they ultimately lost the game, so I guess it did cost them, but they're only averaging 205.5 yards passing per game. Rushing is not very good either. 18th in the NFL, 108 yards per game. They are, however, 10th in scoring. So that kind of tells me that their defense is playing pretty good, giving them some short yardage situations. Punting game is pretty good, whatever. But they are 10th in scoring, averaging 24.2 points per game. And on the flip side of that, the Denver Broncos have broke 30 the last 4 of their last 5 games prior to the Cincinnati game. The defense is pretty lock solid. The defense is pretty good. They got the 9th overall defense, only giving up 319.6 yards per game. They're 18th in passing, however, that number is going to go up. Giving up damn near 500 yards to Joe Burrow today, but they only given up 219.8 yards per game. They're 5th in rush defense, only giving up 99 yards per game. 4th in scoring defense, only giving up 18.7 points per game. And they're 2nd in red zone defense, letting a point scored at a rate of 45.2%. They have won 4 games in a row before losing to the Chargers and losing to the Bengals. So they have won 4 of their last 6. They are currently on a 2-game losing streak. The defense, the one shining bright point of their team, has only held one team to under 10 points since week 4. Defense has not been playing very, 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 very good. As the defense is their bank all, end all, be all type of thing. Hey, our defense is like great. That's what Mark and the rest of the Denver Broncos crews have been banking on all season long. Our defense is great. They haven't been very good since week 4. Let's just be honest. Everybody's scoring over 10 points on them. Hell, they gave up 30 points today versus the Cincinnati Bengals. So, guys, if the Denver Broncos make the playoffs, are they contenders or are they pretenders? I don't think it matters if they're the 1st seed, the 2nd seed, the 5th seed, or the 7th seed. The Denver Broncos are a first-round exit. The Denver Broncos are pretenders. The Denver Broncos shouldn't even be in the conversation of the playoffs. Let's just be flat out honest. We talked about Sean Payton earlier being potentially coach of the year. Does this loss to the Cincinnati Bengals hurt his chances as coach of the year? And honestly, I think this whole season stunts their growth moving forward. Yes, having success is nice. Yes, winning is nice. But you still have a lot of holes to fill. Your passing game is terrible. Your rushing game is subpar. Your defense is great. Don't get it twisted. But the offense is terrible. You needed draft picks. Because you got, $60 million in dead cap money for Russell Wilson next season. Actually, I think it's 40. 60 this year, 40 next year, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, you have to nail the draft. And making the playoffs is just hurting your draft stock. And honestly, the Denver Broncos should want to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs on week 18. They should put in their practice squad players and just get blown out. Let's just be honest. Let's just do it. Because I believe Jameson said it earlier, right? Hell, the Chiefs should just lose so they block the Bengals from getting into the playoffs. Well, how about this? The Broncos should lose so the Bengals can get into the playoffs and then knock out the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's play that double-edged sword. But guys, the Denver Broncos are pretenders. There is no question about it in my mind. They are pretenders. No way they can compete with anybody in the playoffs. Not the Texans, not the Chargers, not the Steelers, not the Ravens, not the Bills, not the Chiefs, not anybody. They are pretenders. So guys, in the comments, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Are they contenders or are they pretenders? Da-da-da-dum. Laura says, where's Mark? I'm disappointed in his Broncos. Broncos are Fugazi. Sorry and shit. Actually, she says sorry, not sorry. Like I said, Laura, Mark is over there in the corner. He is crying, using his tears as lubricant to make way to week 18. And Derek says they had the paper tiger D. Their defense is not very good right now. Let's just be honest. You are correct. Their defense is not very good right now. Josh says, I think they have a chance to beat the Bills in the first round. Josh, I was with you a couple weeks ago. Prior to the Chargers game, I was with you. I was like, hey, the Buffalo Bills don't want to see the Denver Broncos. I was saying that the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to see the Denver Broncos. I was with you on that. I was 100% with you. The Broncos were playing pretty good football at that particular point, right? They won 4 games in a row. They beat the Falcons, Raiders, Browns, and Colts pretty handily in all those games. Offense was flying high. Offense is still flying high, but the defense is starting to suck it up a little bit, right? Giving up 27 points to the Chargers, 24 versus the Bengals. Sorry, 30 versus the Bengals. Hell, they gave up 32 points versus the Cleveland Browns, right? Just 3 weeks ago, Josh, I would have been with you. But that is what is so great about the NFL. Every week it is so fluid, right? Every week it is so fluid. One time, week 8, you're on top of the world, right? You blow out a team 54-6, right? And then all of a sudden, you're getting blown out the next week. All of a sudden, you're on a 3-game losing streak. All of a sudden, you're like, man, are we going to make the playoffs? And then all of a sudden, you win a game here. Momentum starts to flow with you. You win the game there. Okay, well, now we're rolling. 3 games in a row, but I'm going to Super Bowl, baby. That is why I love the NFL. It is so fluid, and I love it. I love it. Jameson says Texans will be easily beaten in the playoffs. We talked about that last night. You are correct. You are correct. Derek says Denver gets T. Higgins, running back they got a portion of maybe. We'll see if T. Higgins. Rumor is that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase now have the same agent. So put that into stock, whatever you want to do. It is what it is. Jim says it's time to herd the cattle over them Brokeback Mountains. Broncos have other shit to do. Not wrong. Not wrong. So, guys, are the Denver Broncos, are they contenders or are they pretenders? I'm saying they're pretenders. Jamie Nate Myers in the chat says, what about the Chicago Bears? Chicago Bears have been pretenders all season long. Even when the Chicago Bears were on cloud 9, rolling their thing, they won like 3 games in a row, right? They were still pretenders. The Chicago Bears have never been competitive yet this season, and I think Caleb Williams is probably getting a little bit of a bad rap. Let's just be honest. Calling him a bust and all this other stuff. It's been coaching, right? It's been coaching from spot on, Jamie. The Chicago Bears just have a bad coaching, bad organization. They just have bad mojo, a curse on them, if you want to call it, right? John B's back in the chat today. What's up, John? He says Broncos are pretenders, but still had a nice season. A lot to build on with Bo. Probably losing the first round, but don't get blown out. And you are correct. Bo Nix might have been the steal of this year's draft. Yes, I understand Jaden Daniels has had a spectacular season. Caleb Williams does have a bright future if the right coach does come along. Michael Penix Jr., right, still has a lot of unknown about him, right? But we saw a lot of good things last week with him with the Falcons, right? Drake May could have a pretty good average NFL career. Won't be great, but won't be terrible, right? Bo Nix probably has the biggest upside out of all of them, honestly. He has the highest ceiling, but the lowest floor as well. Is he going to be like CJ Stroud and really hit that sophomore wall? Or is he going to progress, right? Only to be determined. But I do like Bo Nix. The more and more I watch Bo Nix, the more and more I like his game, right? Derek says, who can Denver get to make it up to help? A lot of people sitting around. As far as offensive wise, I don't think you can legitimately bring anybody in right now, right? The only person that I thought they could maybe make a run at was Deontay Johnson, but the Texans scooped him up pretty fast, right? But I would have to look at the wide receiver free agent market and the draft class to see who they should really get, right? Jameson says Denver plays Buffalo if they get in. It could be the Ravens. Could be the Ravens if the Ravens win and the Buffalo Bills do lose a game. Ravens have the head-to-head tiebreaker, but you're probably right. Pepe says the Bills versus Broncos would be a good game, but the Bills do win it. I'm not for sure if it's going to be a good game. Because the way they've kind of just been floundering around, especially if they lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, losing three straight games and making it into the playoffs, I don't know. I don't know. Ryan Perry's in the chat. What's up, Ryan? He says, is Hurts injured for next week? I am an Eagles fan. Yes, Jalen Hurts will be out versus the Dallas Cowboys with the concussion. Now, the following week versus the New York Giants, that is to be determined, right? Concussions are very, very fluid, right? Some people take days to recover from a concussion. Some people take weeks or a month to recover from a concussion. But, Ryan, if you are an Eagles fan, right, and if you happen to lose to the Dallas Cowboys, you are hoping that the Commanders lose so the Eagles do lock up that NFC East title and they do get a home playoff game so you can just rest Jalen Hurts anyways, right? So with that being said, he is out this week versus the Dallas Cowboys. That was listed Tuesday or Wednesday, I do believe. Commanders are one because of our secondary. The Commanders will not get the number 1 seed, but they could win the NFC East still. If the Eagles lose out and the Commanders win out, they can still win it, right? Pepe says, give Ryan Poles a couple years in Chicago before you sink the ship. And I don't think Ryan Poles is the answer. I think the people above him, the president, the chairman, the CEO, whatever you want to call him, right? They are the issues, right? The McCaskies are the issue. I believe his name is George McCaskey, is the president CEO. He is the issue. He is a wannabe Jerry Jones and just doesn't have a track record. And Jamie says the Chargers should move back to San Diego. I agree. Although SoFi is a very, very nice stadium, actually, I don't really know. I really don't care. Honestly, it would be nice to call for them to have a home field, right? Like a true home field advantage yet again. But the only team that I really want to see move back to their city that I grew up with are the Raiders, right? The Raiders should definitely move back to Oakland. Give them that true black hole again, right? Oakland was just perfect for the Raiders. A nice, grungy, grit town, right? It fit the Raiders and their personality perfectly. The fans were gross there. That black hole was awesome. I remember when I was about 16 years old, I went there as a Chiefs fan going into the black hole. And even as a fan, it was very, very intimidating, right? Very, very intimidating. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights says, yo, what's up, Daniel? Hope having a grand old day, man. And Pepe says, LA will root for whatever team is winning. They need 2 teams. LA needs 3 teams. Let's just be honest. Hell, doesn't LA have like 12 sports teams, right? So they got I guess that's not, they have the Lakers, they have the Clippers, and then they got the Dodgers. It just goes on. They have like 15. It's just stupid, right? Mene Castle says, who do you think should win the MVP in your opinion? After today, I think it should be Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow and Josh Allen are the true MVPs of their team. Who do I think will win it? I think it will be Josh Allen. Who do I think should win it? Should be Joe Burrow. But I do think Josh Allen will ultimately win it. Jameson says the Chargers should move to Oklahoma City. Chargers and Thunders are perfect. I mean, yeah. would Oklahoma support another professional team, though? That's the question. That is the question. Derek says, I've been to like 40 games and been kicked out of 15. That's not a very good track record, Derek. That's not a very good track record. And Laura says the Rams and Cardinals is a low-scoring game. What is the score to that game? Let me look it up. I'm curious. I've had the game on paused, but now I'm curious, right? 10-6 in the third quarter. That is tough, right? That is tough. Josh said the Rams should move back to St. Louis. No, because St. Louis did not really support the Rams, right? When the Rams were good, St. Louis supported them. But when they were bad, they did not support them at all. I remember it was the Rams, was it second to last season in St. Louis? It was a Monday night game. I was at that game because one of my best friends from 5th and 6th grade was playing for the 49ers at the time. That place was empty. It was Monday Night Football, 49ers versus the Rams, divisional opponent. It wasn't even a late season game. It was like a mid-season game, like week 10, week 11. That place was empty. They literally taped off the upper dome to try to get people down in there so the TV camera should like make it look like a full crowd, right? You heard conversations on the field. There was literally nobody there, right? Ryan Perry says, what was the best year in the NFL season? Like, so far this year, like, who's had the best NFL season? That's Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has by far had the best NFL season, I think. Ryan Perry says, I think Saquon Barkley should be MVP. I think you are correct. Jay Packer says Joe Burrow for MVP. I agree. And Jamie says, actually, the Chargers should move to San Antonio, Texas. And see, now you guys just getting greedy. Now y'all just getting greedy. We need to spread out these teams, right? The New York, New England area doesn't need 3 NFL teams. They got the Patriots, the Jets, and the Giants. LA, California doesn't need 3 NFL teams. They got the 49ers, they got the Rams and Chargers. Now you want to put 3 teams in Texas? Damn. Let's give Wyoming a team. So, I don't know. Minnie says, if a new team came into the NFL, what would be a good city? So it would have to come in pairs, right? They just wouldn't just add one. So you'd have to think of 2 teams, right? Obviously, I think St. Louis would be a good team. They have already supported a NFL team for a little while. They are supporting the St. Louis Battlehawks very, very well in the UFL. I've been to a few of those games. That place is rocking, right? It's been more sold out than the St. Louis Rams ever were. So I would say St. Louis. And then many people are saying Louisville, Kentucky would be a great team, would be a great place, right? But Louisville, Kentucky does not want a professional team. They don't want a basketball team. They don't want a baseball team. They don't want an NFL team, right? They do not want professional teams. They want their cards and cards only. So with that being said, it would have to, I feel like Chicago could probably support a second team, right? Chicago is a very, very large city with a large media area. So I think Chicago could support a second team. Or if we're really thinking about it, in the upper Midwest, right? Nebraska, huge college town. I think they would support a professional team. Iowa, that whole Corn Belt kind of area. So I would say St. Louis and let's say Des Moines, Iowa. I think that would be the good part. San Antonio Dodge Chargers. that would be funny. Jameson said the Washington Commanders should move to San Antonio. And the Washington Commanders might be moving, right? Because they lost their lease to their stadium, if I'm not mistaken. They lost their lease to their stadium. Ryan says, I think Mississippi. So here's the thing. You are in SEC country when you go to Mississippi, Alabama, even Louisiana, out there into Georgia, right? especially Mississippi and like Alabama, they don't want pro teams. Alabama is their pro team. LSU is their pro team. Mississippi State is their pro team. Ole Miss is their pro team, right? Mississippi and like Alabama do not want NFL teams. It just I think Nick Saban even said that. Like they don't want it. And then you're saying Louisiana. Louisiana already has the Saints. Can Louisiana support a second team? I don't know. What other big city is in in there? Besides Baton Rouge, I don't know if there's any other big cities that would support a stadium. So, if I remember correctly, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came into the NFL, obviously there is no city called Tampa Bay. The city's called Tampa. And the reason why they said Tampa Bay is to include the metro area of Tampa. Because a lot of these NFL execs, the people that ultimately make the decision, they have a criteria that they got to meet, right? It's got to have such a large average income, right? It has to have a population, and it has to have a place to build a stadium. So when you look at, yes, it would be great to say, yes, my city would love it. Omaha, Nebraska would love it. Lincoln, Nebraska would love it. But I don't know if they would really fit that criteria. And I don't know what the criteria is off the top of my head. But I do remember reading an article where Tampa Bay said they had to include the Bay Area to be considered for a NFL team. And Derek says Oakland has a group trying to start a new team. They brought land the Raiders and A's to play on. Except for the Raiders already moved to Vegas, and I believe the A's are moving to Vegas, right? So I don't know if anybody wants to go to Oakland anymore, right? Pepe says the London Chargers versus the Munich Chargers. And Jamie says, what about London, England, the Jacksonville Leopards? And I don't like it. I don't like overseas games as is. I don't like out-of-country games as is, right? That gives you a very distinct advantage. The Jacksonville Jaguars, right? They play back-to-back games over the pond for the last, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was. They historically play better on the second game because they are adjusted, right? The time change and all this other stuff, right? So let's say you have the Chargers flying from LA to London, England to play a 9:00 game. And in their bodies, it's still Saturday afternoon, but it's Sunday night. Like I don't like it at all. If you want to go out of country, I would say Mexico City, Toronto, or Winnipeg. I like Winnipeg. Winnipeg reminds me of home. I spent 4 years in Winnipeg. Good times. But I don't want to play any regular season game over the pond. If you want to do opening day there, sure. If you want to do preseason games there, sure, whatever, right? But from week 3 and on, no. Jacksonville Def Leopards. Jameson says Rams to St. Louis, Chargers to OKC, 49ers to Omaha. Why would you want to leave San Francisco? Ryan Perry says, besides Tom Brady, who do you think is the best quarterback? I think it's Mike Vick. Mike Vick is a very, very good quarterback, but he's a very, very specialized quarterback, right? He was obviously his game got more developed as years went on, right? He went from strictly running and scrambling guy to a nice pocket passer. But Michael Vick probably is even top 10. And honestly, it's well before my time, before I really got into football. But Joe Montana, it was a very, very good quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He was pretty good for the Kansas City Chiefs as well. That is when I saw Joe Montana with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was still 94, 93 time frame. So I was still pretty young. But the best quarterback that I've seen in my lifetime and acknowledge great quarterback play is Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning. Pepe says the owners and Roger Goodell will move to whatever city that gives them the most money. That is what is going to happen. When you think of money, you have to think of average salary income. Is the average person in that city making over $100,000, right? Can the city support it? Are they going to buy $15 beers? I mean, there's a lot of income. Jameson says all teams should jump California. It's a dump. Starting to be that way. But it is what it is. But you know what, guys? Should we talk about this, or should we not? Should we talk about this, or should we not? Let's talk about this. Let me turn on some music here. Let me get it. Now we need some good music. There we go. We need some good music. Let me clear my throat. Now, guys, I am in the business of, being who I am. I am in the business of making people want to talk about things, right? I am in the business of really pulling at some strings, right? But then there are some people that sometimes like to take it past that point, right? There are people such as Jason Cone here. Jason Cone says, "You are a stupid dumbass, go die." Which, Jason, I'm all for some good trash talk, my man. I am all for some good trash talk. But there are several things wrong with your comment here, Jason. First of all, I said it correctly. You are a stupid dumbass, go die. You used the wrong your. It's supposed to be you are. Y-O-U'-R-E. And then stupid dumbass, go die. We need some commas or some periods there, man. Right? And let me ask you this, Jason. If I was face to face with you here, if we were talking face to face, would you tell me that? This computer screen, this phone screen gives you big false sense of security there, Jason. And I know once you made this comment, I was getting ready to go live. I saw this comment, like, oh, that's interesting. I went to reply to it, and you blocked me. So, Jason, just understand this, that I know where you live. I know you gave your kids candy for Christmas. I know you just got a brand new haircut. I know you think you're the sexiest man alive. I know you're at the local bar right now. When you say stuff like this, Jason, just understand that sometimes there are not people out like me out there. I could care less that you said this, to be honest. I legit could care less. But there are certain people out there that will dox you. There are certain people out there that will go down there and track you down. I did it in 3 minutes. I tracked your IP address. I know where you live. I know where you're at right now, Jason, for your phone. Just understand that there's some smart people out there. Now, I won't do anything about it. And I could care less about this comment. But understand this, Jason. If you want to talk your shit, I'm all for it. Use proper grammar, use a little bit of punctuation, and understand that there will be consequences sometimes when you do this kind of thing. Not from me, because I could give 2 shits less, Jason. I could give 2 shits less. But just be prepared.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA. We the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speaks. Go.
Check. Da-da-da-da. Woo. Look at those 404 pounds of bass drum. Boom. Bum, 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 bum. What up, Laura? We live, raw, uncut, NFL. What do you think about that? You don't think about that. You just think. You don't do. Just do, don't think. Don't think, you just do. You got it? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We live, baby. And now, Mike's Thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, the NIL deals are broken in college football. College football is officially broken. Let's just be honest. Because when you go to a high school and you want to transfer, you got to sit out a semester before you're eligible to transfer into said school to play athletics. If you are in the NFL, you have some type of contract, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. You are in some type of binding contract. However, on the college landscape, back in the day, if you were to transfer from said school, you would have to sit out almost a full year unless some hardship happens, right? A hardship, death of the family, sickness, whatever, coaches leave, that type of thing. Now in college football, if you aren't playing, let's say you're with Alabama, you are the backup. You just aren't playing. You're wasting eligibility. You're doing this, you're doing that. You can be like, hey, I'm out of here, deuces, and you can go over to Kentucky and play that next year. If Ohio State's only paying you $50,000 a season to play football, but then Oregon's ready to pay you $80,000 a year to play football, you can be like, deuces, I'm out to make more money over here. Guys, college football is broken. It is broken. They need some type of contract. They need some type of binding contract saying, hey, you're here for 2 years. You're here for all 4 years. And if you don't play X amount of plays, X amount of minutes, whatever, then you can go, right? Guys, I am all for college athletes being paid. I am all for people getting money off of their name, image, and likeness. I am all for it, right? But once NIL came into college football, it has become a business. And at the business, you have contracts, you have lawyers, you have this, and that, right? Right now, it is free game in college football. Right now, it is just a wild, wild west out there, and they need to fix it right now. It is not going to be the NCAA that is going to fix it because they are getting a lot of Benjamins out of this whole deal, right? It is going to take some type of
new NCAA, whether it's the Big 12 joining with the SEC or the SEC joining with the Big 10, some of these major conferences are going to have to join together and make basically the NFL what it comes down to. Because right now you have kids jumping ship left and right, and it is just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. If you go to any NCAA page right now, there's probably hundreds of transfers that just transferred right now for bigger NIL deals because they weren't playing enough because of this, and this. I get it. Money is money. Playing time is playing time. But at the end of the day, you have to have some type of contract. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, ayy, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it.
This is
Man Hour.
What?
Sport Talk. Man Hour.
Okay.
Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour.
What?
Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhuister here with the Man Hour. Sure to manhourradio.com and manhour.co. Check out the shopping page, guys. Check out the watch tab. Check out the listen tab as well. But most importantly, check out the explore tab. You become a pigskin pundit over there, like my man John, like my man Jim, like my girl Laura. Become a pigskin pundit. Support the show. But if you guys do not want to become a pigskin pundit, the best way to support the show right now is to hit that like button. Hit that like button and share this with a couple friends as well, because sharing is caring at the end of the day. Guys, this is a live interactive show, so I see all your comments and we do address them as we come in. But we do got a great show for you guys live today. It is Friday edition. And I restarted my computer. But we are going to be talking about the Steelers taking on the Ravens. Who needs that game more? Who really needs to win? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers a legit threat in the AFC? Are they a legit threat? Can the Ravens repeat in going into the AFC Championship game? And then, of course, we got about 45 minutes like in the show later, we got Factor Crap. We got the Denver Broncos. We're going to talk about this. The biggest Fugazi team out there, hands down, or is it Factor Crap at the Denver Broncos? And then the New York Jets, they're starting to lose players left and right. Garrett Wilson wants out. Should the Jets trade him? Factor Crap about that. Factor Crap. And Myles Garrett, my man, wants out too. He says, but should the Browns let him go? Factor Crap, we'll talk about that. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell has said he's good to go, and he expects to be started against the Jaguars this weekend. So should they? Should they actually go out there and start Aiden O'Connell this weekend? So we'll talk about that here in a little bit of Factor, a little bit of crack, guys. My voice is crackling today because I am down with the sickness, just like the rest of the Buckheister household. But it is what it is. Let's power through it, guys. But if we get too carried away, before we get too carried away, we got to welcome some people in the chat. We got to welcome my man Derek in the chat. He says, what's good? He's just chilling tonight. He's just chilling on a nice Friday night, enjoying some live, raw, uncut NFL talk. We got my girl Laura in the chat today as well. She says, good evening. Laura, your Fugazi hoodie should be there hopefully next week. Hopefully Christmas morning is there. Bada bing, bada boom. Laura got a Fugazi hoodie, guys. So if you guys want to be like Laura, head over to manhour.co. Click on the shop tab, and bada boom, the Fugazi hoodie is right there. And then Jim's like, Jesus, what a hat. Hey, man, you got to get in the spirit, dog. You got to get in the spirit. Christmas is 5 days away, 4 days away now. Actually, what, you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday? I guess you can still count 5 days, whatever. But it is nearly Saturday. You got like 3 shopping days left. So, Jim, me and you are men out there. Get out there and get some shopping done, man. Get out there and get some shopping done. Laura says, what up, Buck? Nothing. Living the dream, trying to get over this sickness. I've been listening too much to Disturbed, and I'm down with that sickness. And Jim says, imagine that. You add money and distort and convolute something good into something evil and corrupt. I mean, honestly, Jim, it was bound to happen, right? I mean, honestly, back when I played, it was corrupt anyways, right? like you had agents meeting, or not agents, but they're people that they hung out with, what they associate with, just like with meeting you at bars and saying, hey, we can give you a little bit of this if you do this for us, whatever it means. It has always been evil and corrupt, but now it is out in the open. Now you don't randomly have $1,000 slid under your door, right? Now you don't randomly have people meeting you at your car after a game with like a brand new suit or anything just like that, right? Now it's out in the open. Now it's clear as day, right? It's just it needs to be regulated, right? It needs to be regulated to an extent, meaning the NIL deals, to where these young kids are not being taken advantage of. Actually, here in Kentucky, right? It actually was Vanderbilt. So Nashville, Tennessee, their quarterback just won a court battle versus the NCAA, saying that his JUCO college years do not count towards his eligibility in the NCAA, because technically the national JUCO, which is separate from the NCAA, should not count. So, guys, now JUCO colleges don't. If you go the JUCO route, those years that you're playing in JUCO do not count towards your eligibility now. So now we're going to see 25, 26, 27-year-old seniors getting all this NIL money, killing people, and it is very, very corrupted and very just, I guess, evil, right? It's just stupid. We got my man John Pebbles in the chat as well. It says, "What up, y'all? What up? What up?" John, hope you're having a grand old Friday, man. Thank you for being a Pigskin Pundit and all the support that you do. David Nazar's a top fan here, says, "My Chargers are badass." Slow it down, baby. Slow it down, baby. The Chargers beat the Broncos. Slow it down, but we will talk about that. We will talk about that. And John says the Ravens-Pittsburgh game is a trap game for Pittsburgh. It's not a trap game. I can tell you that right off the bat. It is not a trap game. And Laura says the Ravens need it, but the Steelers will win it. Well, guys, let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's go ahead and talk about this Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers game here. But before, guys, I want you guys to click on the subscribe button below. If you're on Facebook.com or at YouTube.com, click on the subscribe button below and become a Pigskin Pundit. Be like Laura, be like John, be like Jim, Casey, John, Drew, and guys, and become a Pigskin Pundit. It helps the show more than you will ever know. But with that being said, let's get into some Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens talk here. Let's get on with it. So as you guys know, this is a very, very big game, honestly, for both teams. They go to battle. They go to battle Saturday afternoon, 4:30 here on the East Coast for round number 2. The Steelers did win the first round, and the Steelers currently are sitting at 10-4 on the season. The Baltimore Ravens guys are sitting at 9-5 on the season. If the Steelers win, they can lock up the AFC North. If the Ravens win, the NFC North title is still within reach, right? It is still within reach. So we got to ask this question, guys. When you look at the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday afternoon, who needs this win more? Who needs to go out and show us to the world that, hey, we can compete with these guys. We can beat these guys. Who needs it more? Now, when we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys, they have probably the tougher of the two remaining schedules. They play the Chiefs on Christmas Day, and then they play the Cincinnati Bengals. A Bengals team that still has fight left in them for the playoffs. If the Bengals win out and the Broncos lose out, the Bengals are in the playoffs. So they are playing for the playoffs lives. It's going to be a very, very tough game for the Pittsburgh Steelers on that final, I think, January 5th game. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense is not very good, right? They're ranked 18th overall in offense, 25th in pass offense, and 10th in rush offense. Now, their defense is a little bit better, right? Their defense, I have been banking on their defense all season long. But as of late, right, TJ Watt, he went down a game or two ago with that ankle injury. We saw Hightower go down earlier this season with that ankle injury as well. But the Pittsburgh Steelers do have the 8th ranked defense in the NFL. They also have the 22 ranked passing defense in the NFL, but the bright point of the defense is the run stopping ability. They're 4th in defense, 4th rush defense, right? And then A lot of the measuring stick games with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the other teams that we will be talking about tonight is how do they stack up against playoff-bound teams, right? Teams that are potentially going to go into the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers guys are 4-0 versus playoff teams so far this season. They have beaten the Broncos, Chargers, Ravens, and then the Washington Commanders. When the Commanders were at their peak, right? Not this struggling, fumbly team that we're seeing right now. Now, on the other hand, the Baltimore Ravens, they do have the easier of the two remaining schedules. They do play the Texans, not a walk in the park, but a very, very beatable team. And then they play the Cleveland Browns that are basically buying for that number 1 overall pick to end the season here. Like I said, it is not as tough as the Steelers, but it is still tough, right? The Texans are still a playoff-bound team, and the Browns are still the Browns, and they are a divisional opponent. The Browns that which beat the Baltimore Ravens earlier this season. Now, one of the biggest weaknesses for the Baltimore Ravens so far this season has been their defense, right? Their defense has been terrible. Their defense has yet to hold a team to under 10 points so far this season. They have held teams to 10 points twice this season, the Broncos and the Bills, which are both playoff teams, but they have yet to hold a team to single digits. On the other hand, their offense, they do have the best offense in the NFL. They have the 3rd-ranked passing offense, the 2nd-ranked rushing offense. Their defense is just flat out terrible. Per Baltimore standards, this defense is just terrible. 17th ranked defense, 31st ranked passing defense, but they do have the best rushing defense in the NFL. On the other hand, they are 5-3 so far this season versus playoff teams. So when we look at this game, guys, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens, who needs it more? I've given you a little bit of backstory. I've given you a little bit of this. I've given you a little bit of that. But guys, answer in the comments below. Who do you guys think needs this win more, the Steelers or the Ravens? Now, when you look at this game, the Steelers do have the playoffs locked up. Win, lose, draw, the next 3, it doesn't matter. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the playoffs. The Ravens, on the other hand, do have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. It is not locked in yet, but they do that. They have a 99% chance. Even if they lose, they're still sitting at 98% chance to make the playoffs. So more or less, unless hell freezes over twice on Sunday, the Baltimore Ravens are in the playoff as well. On the other hand, Lamar Jackson is just 1-4 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me repeat that for the people that are in the back. All you Lamar Jackson haters, or lovers, I should say. Lamar Jackson just 1-4 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens, however, do lead the league in penalties by far. The most penalized team in the NFL. The Steelers lead the NFL with 30 takeaways. The Steelers would love to host a home playoff game because so far this season, 4 of their losses, 3 of them came on the road. Now, who do I think need this game more? I think the Baltimore Ravens need this game more. They need to lock up their playoffs this week and figure out their wide receiver issues. The Ravens have 2 weeks to figure out what they're going to do with their wide receiver issues. Yes, I understand they still have the 3rd-ranked passing offense in the NFL, but losing Deontay Johnson, they just cut him, which is not a huge loss, but it still adds depth because Nelson Aguilar is out with the concussion and Rashad Bateman is out with the ankle injury. So they're very, very thin at that wide receiver issue. And I know all you Baltimore Ravens fans always have excuses for Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that when they do lose. So who do I think needs to win this game more? I think it is the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Baltimore Ravens need to come out there and they need to flex on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need to dominate a good team. The Ravens have yet to really dominate a good team yet this season. They have played some good teams. They have played some good games, but they have dominate a good team. So that I expect the Ravens to win this game, or I should say the Ravens. I think this is a must-win for them. Sorry about that, guys. Laura says sick here too. Yeah, my voice is going quickly, Laura. It is going quick in hell in a handbaskets or whatever it is, right? Jim Powell says the Ravens need it. The Ravens need it more. Jim also says Pittsburgh has their 21st winning season in a row, so they are done now. David said, if Watt is hurt, the Ravens win. Watt is hurt, but he is expected to play this week. Christmas Day might be a different story, but he is expected to play week 16. So the last I knew, John is saying Baltimore needs it more. I agree with you, right? I agree with you on that, John. Josh Olson says the Ravens win at 23-18. So Josh is also saying that the Ravens need it more, right? Everybody's saying that the Steelers, they already got the playoffs locked up. They already know their faith, right? It's either 3rd seed or 5th seed. So the Ravens need it more. Jalen Nelson's in the chat. What's up, Jalen? He says, yes, they do. Go Baltimore. Go Baltimore, go Baltimore, go Baltimore. Derek says the Pittsburgh needs it more. Baltimore should be focused on winning a playoff game. And Derek, you are correct. Lamar Jackson normally shits the bed in the playoffs. However, last year he did make it to the AFC Championship game. He did win that one game and got there. So maybe the monkey is off his back. Maybe he can finally start winning in the month of January. But to be determined. Laura says definitely the Raiders. Sorry, the Ravens. Definitely the Ravens. The Ravens need it more. Everybody's saying the Ravens, right? Everybody's saying the Ravens. Jalen says, will the Baltimore Ravens lose against the Steelers because of Justin Tucker? Listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers have yet to find the end zone on a consistent basis week after week after week, right? The Steelers field goal kicker wins them a lot of games. Can't think of his name right now, but he has won them a lot of games. However, Justin Tucker has lost the Baltimore Ravens three games. Hell, he could have lost all 4, honestly, just like the last 4. Maybe the bye week and the success that he had against the Giants, maybe that has got Justin Tucker out of his funk, right? But with that being said, I do not think it is going to be a field goal type of game. Now, a field goal that he missed maybe in the second quarter could change some play calling in the third and fourth quarter. Like you go for it on 4th and 1 from like their 40 instead of kicking a 50-yarder, that type of situation. But I don't think Justin Tucker will cost them the game. This game, kickers are all mind cases, right? All kickers have talent. All kickers can go out there and kick, pop can off of the top of a field goal post 10 out of 10 times. It's all in the head, right? It is all a mental game at this point. So Jalen, I do not think Justin Tucker will cost him the game, unfortunately. Matt Castles in the chat says, what do you think about Josh Allen? I think he is the MVP, Matt. I think he is a MVP quarterback this season. John says, man juice to the rescue. I've been using emergency and liquid IV for the last 2 weeks, or for the last 2 days, I should say. And it's just been crazy. You might want to put some more squeak in that voice. It is going quick, guys. It is going quick. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It is going quick. Jim Powell says you need some Big Jim's 2-ball tonic. Kurz ails you. Alrighty. We'll see. Andrew's Paradise says, go Pack go. Division games are always tough. Home team wins whoever it is. That's not true, Andrew. That's not true, because if I remember correctly, the Browns beat the Steelers. Was it? No, that was at Cleveland. So I guess maybe you're right for the AFC North so far this season. The home team has been successful so far this season, unless you're the Bengals. But yeah, maybe. But go Pack, go! I got a cheesehead right there, buddy. Got a little cheesehead. Oh, he says I meant in the Ravens-Steelers game. Yeah. So the Steelers. So it's the Ravens, right? So the Steelers are playing at the Ravens this week. Jalen says Baltimore shooting loss against the Cleveland Browns. Not for sure what you mean by that, Jalen, but they did lose to the Browns. John says warm saltwater gargle. John, I know you like warm salty stuff in your mouth. You can gargle that warm salty stuff all you want. But yeah, I have actually already done that. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, I know. All right, guys. So we talked about who needs it more, who really needs to get down and get some wins in there. But let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they a dangerous team in the playoffs? Can the Pittsburgh Steelers win a playoff game or two this season in the AFC playoff picture. Now, if you guys have been following the Man Hour for a while now, you know that my Super Bowl pick has been the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I may want to maybe kind of recant that a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not believing so much in the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. But let's answer this question, guys. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers a dangerous team in the playoffs? When we talk about dangerous, we mean, can they win a wild card game? Can they compete in the divisional round? Can they make it to the AFC championship game? Are they a dangerous team in the playoffs? And the Pittsburgh Steelers contain two of the ingredients to win a championship. The two ingredients that you need to win a championship is to play good defense, which they have the 8th ranked overall defense, and they need to rush the ball, which they had the 10th ranked rushing offense. So they play good defense and they run the ball well. They have all the tools in place right now, guys, to make a deep playoff run. When you have the 8th ranked defense, yes, passing defense kind of sucks, 22nd in passing, but the AFC, all the home teams are going to be cold weather, windy teams, right? If you got to go to Buffalo, you're going to have to be dealing with that 40-mile-an-hour wind and snow. If you go to Kansas City, you're going to have to deal with that swirling wind. For whatever reason, Arrowhead Stadium has that swirling wind time after time after time. If you got to play in Pittsburgh, that swirling wind off of the three rivers there in Pittsburgh, always swirling, right? So passing is not going to be very, very big numbers, big yardage through some of these teams, right? And then the 10th ranked rushing defense. Sorry, the 4th ranked rushing defense. Man, my mind is all over the place. They can stop the run. So they're going to force you to pass. Guys, the simple fact of the matter is that the Steelers are a very, very dangerous playoff team. They are a dangerous playoff team. They have all the tools in place, the running game, the defense. They have a Super Bowl winning coach. They have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And they got players that have never won a playoff game or let alone a Super Bowl, so they're hungry. They are hungry. So when you got an experienced Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson, fueled with the hungry guys, Najee Harris, George Pickens, Justin Fields, TJ Watt, it is a perfect recipe for success in the postseason. It is a perfect recipe for success in the postseason. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to be a team that you want to play in the playoffs. They have had so much playoff disappointment the last 4, 5, 6 seasons, right? Hell, they haven't won a playoff game since was it 2012 or something like that? I don't remember exactly. But they have had a lot of playoff disappointment. You get a home playoff game versus potentially the LA Chargers? Yes. They're dangerous, guys. So what do you guys think? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers dangerous in the playoffs? Can they make a legit AFC championship run? I got to say yes. Laura says, if you can handle honey, that helps too. I use local honey for my cough and sore throat. I use local honey for my allergies all season. So yes, we do a lot of honey, a lot of honey and hot tea around here. Josh Olson says, only if Pickens comes back healthy and Watt is healthy. George Pickens is going to be out this game versus the Ravens yet again for some rest, right? TJ Watt will get his rest. So George Pickens and TJ Watt should be at least 90% going into the playoffs. Plus, Highsmith is out. Highsmith is back, right? Preston Smith's been getting a little playing time, getting his ears wet with that new defense. They're dangerous, guys. They're dangerous. Jalen says Will Russell Wilson has been doing good with the Steelers. Will Russell Wilson has been doing good with the Steelers sometimes, but I don't think they might win, but I think the Chief will knock them out of the playoffs. So basically, Jalen's saying Russell Wilson has been playing good. Jalen's saying that Russell Wilson has been playing good so far this season. Will it translate over into the postseason? That is the real question. And I don't see any indication of why it wouldn't translate over, right? I don't see any indication of why Russell Wilson's play in the playoffs, all of a sudden, it's just going to drop off. Granted, they are only 4-0 versus playoff teams, right? They've only played 4 playoff teams. They got the the Ravens this week, so that'd be 5, right? They've been battle tested, right? This last half of the season, they've been battle tested. I mean, it's not like he's just been going to drop off the face of the earth. Like, I think Russell Wilson will be just fine. And honestly, Jalen, me being a Chiefs fan, I think the only team that could potentially beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs is the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they have been there. They have done that. No other quarterback, no other team in the AFC has won a Super Bowl but with their active roster besides Pittsburgh, right? Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He knows what it takes. He can give them wisdom, right? John says they can win a wild card, but that's about it. Damn, slow it down, baby. So you don't think the Steelers can beat the Bills or the Chiefs or the Ravens? That is tough. That's tough. Derek says, I don't know what I can get behind this team. And honestly, Derek, I kind of agree with you, right? I have, what is it, about 6-7 weeks ago? This NFL season is flying by, but it seems like, I was kind of hesitant to jump on the hype train, right? I was a little hesitant to jump on the hype train of the Pittsburgh Steelers because of the simple fact that they're not really lighting up the scoreboard, right? The simple fact that Russell has not really had that both Russell Wilson MVP, that type of game stretch here, right? And it just, and I understand it, right? The offense is 18th in the NFL, 22nd in passing, 4th in rushing though. So it's just, this is a team that is tough to get behind because they play that old school mentality. Hard-nosed defense, run the ball, right? And it's just like, and I get it, and I understand, and definitely respect you because you being a Raiders fan, you guys are kind of the same way. You want to run the ball in a tough-nosed defense, and you're not having success over there, but they're having success over here. So it is kind of tough, right? Jim Powell says they are dangerous to the point of Watt and to the semis, but all the way to the AFC, nope. Sell, crapolo. So Jim is saying they can win a wild card, but they're not going to win a divisional game. They're not going to win a divisional game. Andrew's Paradise over here on youtube.com/man hour. Thank you for joining us today, man. He says the Steelers aren't potent enough on offense to win 3 playoff games. Pass rush and running game are important, but you need to be able to win multiple ways, beat all good teams. And I would agree with you on that to an extent, right? Because a lot of these quarterbacks that they're going to face in the playoffs cannot legitimately, they don't have strong enough arms to throw the ball in a Buffalo win. They don't have the arm strong enough to throw the ball in a Kansas City Colt, right? They don't have a arm strong enough to throw in the Pittsburgh Steelers, like field, right? There is a reason why a lot of these AFC teams want the home field advantage because they do have those strong arm quarterbacks, i.e. the Buffalo Bills. Because let's say you have Bo Nix come up to Buffalo and the wind is swirling at 30, 40 miles an hour, right? Josh Allen can throw the ball in that. He will put it on a dime. He can throw it in that all day long. Bo Nix simply cannot. He does not have the arm strength. He does not have that power. So they're going to rush the hell out of the ball that particular game. They're going to shut it down because the Buffalo Bills have one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. Justin Herbert does have a strong arm. Has he ever thrown in wind? No. Patrick Mahomes does have a strong arm. Has he thrown it in 40-mile-an-hour wind BF4? No. So rushing the ball is going to be very, very key in these playoffs, especially when the Buffalo Bills get the number 1 overall seed. It is going to happen. The Super Bowl is going to go through Buffalo, and you're going to have to battle with that crappy weather up there. It is what it is. You have to run the ball and play defense. John says, here's the question. Pittsburgh versus Chiefs. Who wins? We will talk about that on Tuesday, John. We will talk about that on Tuesday. John says, I will tell you one win in the big pursuit cat fight. Cat fight. Alpha Rob says they beat everyone except for the Buffalo Bills. So Alpha Rob saying the Pittsburgh Steelers are the second best team in the AFC. They can beat the Chiefs. They can beat the Ravens, Chargers, Buffalo Bills, Houston Texans, just not the Buffalo Bills. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. You might be right. I think you might be right though. Like Alpha Rob. John says Wilson is merely average. Playoff shows leaders, and Russell Wilson is a leader. He has gone to the Super Bowl, man. He has gone to the Super Bowl. Derek says, if they win the Super Bowl, does Mike Tomlin step down a winner? There's been rumors that Mike Tomlin might get traded, right? There's been rumors that Mike Tomlin's been retiring for the last 3 or 4 years. And honestly, what other greater feeling than it is to win on top, right? But then on the other hand, you got to look at your roster. Like, hey, these guys are still pretty young. I'm not that old. We see Bill Belichick, 80 years old, coaching. We see Andy Reid, 72 years old, coaching, right? We see people coaching, just out there. So it all depends on how the playoffs go, right? But I can't answer that question. I don't know. Me personally, I would say no. I wouldn't. Why? I'm the greatest coach of like all time. Why walk away? I'm just saying. But on the other hand, guys, the Baltimore Ravens, they made it to the AFC championship game last year, right? They made it to the AFC championship game for the first time in Lamar Jackson's career. So the question that we have for the Baltimore Ravens is, can the Ravens make it back to the AFC championship game? As you guys know, as of right now, they would be the 5th seed in the AFC playoff picture if it were to start today. They would have to go on the road to play the Houston Texans, then probably go on the road to play the Kansas City Chiefs, and then play, and if everything holds true, then they would have to play the Buffalo Bills as the 2nd seed going into the AFC championship game. But right now, the Baltimore Ravens are very, very thin at the wide receiver position as of right now. They just cut DeAndre Johnson. Nelson Aguilar is out with a concussion. Don't know when he's going to be back. Rashad Bateman is questionable with the ankle injury. Wide receiver core's gotten pretty thin pretty quickly, right? And like I just said, if the playoffs were to start today, they would be playing the Houston Texans in a rematch of last season in the divisional round. They can, and they will beat the Houston Texans. I don't think the Texans have anything for the Baltimore Ravens whatsoever, right? And in the divisional round, if they would play Kansas City, it would be at Kansas City, which is a tough place to play. Let's just be honest. It is a very, very tough place to go to Arrowhead and win games, especially in the postseason. But then let's just say they win that game. Then they would have to turn around and play the number 2 seed, the Buffalo Bills, at Buffalo. Last time Lamar Jackson went to Buffalo, he got knocked out before the game was even over. To be honest, guys, it is a very, very real shot that the Texans even move up to the 3rd seed, right? And the Steelers drop down to the 4th seed. And if that were the case, the Ravens' road even got that much harder. Then they got to play the Steelers, Chiefs, and then the Buffalo Bills. It's a very, very tough road no matter the way you look at it. As I think they can make the championship game. Lamar Jackson is a great talent, pretty good quarterback, but I do not trust them right now. Somebody over here on YouTube was bringing up Justin Tucker. Very, very real possibility that Justin Tucker could cost them a playoff game. And honestly, guys, I said it for the last 2 weeks. If Justin Tucker wasn't the Justin Tucker name attached to that player, he would have been cut 3 weeks ago. Playing Kansas City or the Buffalo Browns or the Buffalo Browns, the Buffalo Bills in the 2nd round is very, very tough. It is very, very tough. The Ravens might arguably have the hardest path to the AFC championship game ever. Let's just be honest. So can they make it to the championship game? Of course they can. They've done it. They have the talent. They have the team. The defense sucks, but the offense is high flying. Will they? No. I do not think they will make it the AFC championship game. I don't think they get past the Chiefs. I don't think they get past the no matter who they play in the 2nd round. I don't think they get past the 2nd round, because if they jump up to a 3rd seed, if everything holds true, they would play the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. If they stay where they're at, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. I just don't see that happening, right? I don't see that happening. Andrew with the super chat. Thanks, buddy. I definitely appreciate that. He says, good luck with your channel. Off topic, what do you think about the Lions limping into the playoffs? I almost feel bad for a division rival. honestly, Andrew, it is what it is. Let's speak about the Detroit Lions. They've been running their mouths for the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, right? Next man up, next man up, next man up. And now all of a sudden, they want to use injuries as an excuse. Andrew, I legit think that the Detroit Lions are last year's Philadelphia Eagles. What, they were 11-0, limped into the playoffs in their first round exit. I could very, 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 very see the Detroit Lions being a 3rd seed and getting beat by, I don't know, let's say, who would be the 3rd seed? Would it be the Commanders? I don't even know what the NFC playoff picture is right now. Why am I drawing a blank? No, it'll be the Minnesota Vikings, right? So you had the Vikings, Packers, and then the Commanders. So yeah, it would be the Packers. Like it's a very, very real possibility, Andrew. So yeah. Jalen Nelson says, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl. Buffalo Bills have the best opportunity to play to go to the Super Bowl. Jalen, they're hot, they are clicking, and they have a pretty favorable schedule. They play the Patriots twice and then the Jets to end the season. Very, very real chance they get that first overall seed. Very, very real chance that they play the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first game. That's not an ideal matchup, but it is what it is. They are a very, very hot team. Derek says all teams that should be in the playoffs about to be there. This is going to be a great playoffs. On the NFC side AFC side, I think we can pretty much write it in like stone that the Texans lose, the Broncos lose, the Chargers lose, and whoever, those 3 teams are going to lose. Like it is what it is. So call who is in the championship. I already said, John, it's going to be the Eagles and Steelers. That is who my Super Bowl is. Let's see here. Derek says, has a coach when they sued the Raiders for hotting it so what? He was a coach when they sued the Raiders for hotting too hard. I don't know what you're talking about. That hitting too hard. I don't remember. John says Tomlin's the greatest Pittsburgh coach. No, he's not. Chuck Noll 4 Super Bowls. I'm saying that Mike Tomlin is the greatest coach of all time. John, I'm saying he's better than Andy Reid. He's better than Bill Belichick, right? When you don't have a losing season, that does something, buddy. That tells me that you're doing something right. And John Madden, I don't even know. Josh Olson says the Ravens could possibly get to the Super Bowl with Derrick Henry. Also, the Bills' defense always struggles against Derrick Henry. Josh, the real question is, are the Baltimore Ravens going to use Derrick Henry? Right? In the games that they lost so far this season, Derrick Henry has the most of 2 carries in the fourth quarter. I'm just saying. Don't forget about Derrick Henry. I understand saving him for the playoffs and all this other crap. Like, come on, shut up with that. Shut up with that. That is dumb. That is asinine. That is asinine. Like, stop being crazy. Motown. All right, guys. So